Synopsis: I have secretly loved Anjong for a long time. When I finally gathered the courage to confess, all that came out of my mouth was an unrelated sentence. Isn't the moon particularly full today? He looked at me, the corners of his mouth curling up, his smile both lazy and wicked. So, do you want to kiss? My heart raced wildly, all the courage I had built up in that moment vanished completely. I also decided to step back. I caught a cold, let's save it for another day. That so-called another day ended up lasting for many years. Singer genius Anjong caused a sensation across the internet with his new song titled Summer Love Letter. In a short time, from the media to audiovisual platforms, everywhere was filled with the name Anjong and his new song. The charts were completely dominated by him, leaving no gaps. Right at the release time, Anjong posted a status on WO. Summer Love Letter is something no one seems to need a bunny for. His WBO has always been very clean, no advertisements, no sharing of daily life, only when a new song is released does he post a line with the song title and listen now along with the familiar bunny symbol. Fans often tease that he resembles an automatic machine solely used to remind everyone to listen to music. But no matter how much he is teased, this W line quickly climbed straight to the hot search list. The comments below continued endlessly. I've listened, doesn't he have any limits to his creativity? So good. Anjong's products are definitely quality goods. Whose idol is so handsome and talented like this? Once again, I was immersed in his beauty and voice. At 8:30 p.m., the convenience store downstairs from the company was almost empty. I rummaged around for a while before finding a forgotten discounted meal box in the corner of the shelf. While waiting to heat it up, I opened WO and quietly liked Anjong's post. He debuted at 19, becoming famous at a very young age. From the early days of being suspected of being just a passing phenomenon to countless times being discussed about when he would fade away. For the past 6 years, Anjong has used each work to respond to all doubts. Especially today, after Summer Love Letter won an award, half of the entertainment industry has posted congratulatory messages. The post by rising young actor Doong Mak Nan even shot straight to the top of the search. Congratulations to my senior, who truly deserves to be my idol. From the age of 18 until now. The attached photo is a moment of Anjong at the awards ceremony. Fans immediately flooded in, not forgetting to shout that the two should be together. One is a top star in the film industry, while the other is a peak star in the music industry. Both beauty and talent are considered a perfect match. Today, Anjong stood out particularly on stage. The suit was tailored perfectly to fit his broad shoulders and long, straight legs. The youthful innocence of years past has faded away. In its place is a stable and masculine aura. Thick eyebrows, deep phoenix eyes, thin lips slightly pursed, a faint scar on his brow bone adds a cold and wild touch to his face. The audience below kept calling his name. Anjong held the button in his hand, his expression calm, almost distant. The host smiled and asked, "Longtime fans know that Anjong's journey has never been easy, can you share what has helped you reach today?" Anjong nodded, the corners of his lips curling into a faint smile. Because of a debtor who refused to pay, he slightly raised his eyes, and that gaze, even through the screen, made my heart sink a little. That year, in the debt notebook, there was a very clear line, Lam owed Anjong a total of 3,521.5 yuan. I still haven't paid that amount until now. The host curiously asked further. So that person must owe you a lot, right? Anjong slightly curled his lips, his voice carrying a hint of self-mockery. Yes, a lot. The lunchbox in my hand was still warm. In a daze, I let my palm touch it, and the burning sensation immediately spread, my skin turning noticeably red. Is it really a lot? So where is that person now? Haven't you two met again? He chuckled softly, his gaze turning quiet. I don't know where she is, but she must be able to see me. I lowered my head to look at my red, burning palm, not understanding why a bitter feeling surged in my chest. The host quickly smiled to lighten the atmosphere, reminding the audience to take on Zhang as a model and to be careful when making friends. By the way, today there is a special guest in the audience. The camera immediately understood and shifted to Duong Mac Nan sitting below. She stood up, elegantly made up, smiling to greet everyone. With just the right amount of shyness. Everyone knows that the movie Youth Confession, starring Mac Nan, has made a big splash. Her image as Binoyet Kwong has also won the hearts of many viewers. So I want to ask on Zhang if a girl like Mac Nan, who resembles Binoyet Kwong, is his type? The implication in the question immediately stirred the fans. Duong Mac Nan is on Zhang's junior, and she almost always sits in the front row at his performances. Fans watched with delight, and the media seized the opportunity to raise the topic's heat. Rumors of dating spread endlessly, with even whispers that they had secretly married long ago. In response to that suggestive question, fans collectively held their breath in anticipation. An Zhang frowned, his expression indifferent, and answered succinctly, "Not at all." In that moment, the entire audience fell silent. No one expected him to respond so bluntly. Before everyone could digest that statement, An Zhang offered no further explanation. The excessive decisiveness made the atmosphere freeze momentarily. After a few seconds of awkwardness, the host hurriedly forced a smile to salvage the situation. "So what kind of girl does An Zhang like?" His gaze slightly shifted, glancing at the camera, his voice deep and calm, like a little rabbit. The lunchbox in my hand suddenly felt dry, the food stuck in my throat, making it hard to swallow. I stared at the face on the screen, that familiar yet strange face. In that moment, the call of Lam Tu Tho from my memory suddenly rang out, pulling me back to the summer of 58 years old. An Zhang at 58 was famously difficult to approach. He often hung out with Tran Mac, a tough guy from the neighboring school, fighting without caring about the consequences. No one dared to provoke him at school, so when he blocked me at the school gate for the first time, I was genuinely scared. "I don't have any money. I thought you wanted to collect protection fees, but unexpectedly, you threw me a stack of test papers. I heard your academic performance is good too." I lowered my head to do the test. After finishing, he took it and casually handed me a 100 yuan bill. "Hey, what's your name again?" I lowered my head, my voice so soft it was almost inaudible. "Lam Yu." He frowned. "Lam Yu the fairy?" I hurriedly explained. "It's not the word love and a tragic fate. Because I'm a girl, my biological father, I didn't want me to live. That name was also given by him. It's indeed a strange name." An Zhang muttered something, his gaze lingering on my face for a moment. "I think you look more like a rabbit." He pulled out 2 white rabbit-shaped milk candies from his uniform pocket and threw them towards me. "Lam Tu Tho, eat the candy." Later, I asked him why he kept calling me Lam Tu Tho. He said, "That day I saw my eyes red and swollen, looking just like a rabbit, clearly in so much pain that my eyes were red but still stubbornly holding back tears." Actually, there's something I never told An Zhang. That day, I had a bottle of pesticide in my bag. I had thought about ending everything. At 18, it should have been the most beautiful time of a person's life. But my youth was buried in the quagmire. My father was an alcoholic, my mother was insane. I was the 3rd child she gave birth to. The 2 before me were boys, and as soon as they were born, she squeezed them to death. Some people said my mother was very beautiful, someone my father bought. Later, she was beaten to madness by him. He hit my mother and also hit me. At school, a person like me naturally became a target for ostracism and bullying. That day, I was full of injuries, feeling that life was too painful, with no hope left. But those 2 candies melted in my mouth were too sweet, compared to the bitter and pungent taste of pesticide. That sweetness suddenly made me not want to drink anymore. That day, An Zhang also teased me. "Does Lam Tu Tho want to be my junior? Later, I will protect you." From that day on, behind the school tyrant An Zhang, there was an additional little tale. I became his little brother. An Zhang told me to list the names of those who had bullied me, and every day he would randomly choose one for me to vent my anger on. Since then, the bullies would actively avoid me when they saw me. The classmates who had isolated me gradually began to talk to me. They were curious why I knew Anjong. I pretended to be proud, held my head high and said, "Anjong is my big brother." That statement soon reached Anjong's ears. Someone curiously asked him, "What am I to you?" He answered bluntly without hesitation, "My person," and later be a little more sensible. Feeling protected turns out to be so wonderful. Lam Tu though at 18, finally saw the light, only I didn't understand that some lights were not meant to be grasped. Some people, just meeting once, have exhausted all the luck of a lifetime. Now he stands in the dazzling glory. Fortunately, I have also overcome my own suffering, struggling but still trying to live on. After finishing the last bite of rice in the box, a surprised voice suddenly rang out behind me. "My dear sister, Lam Yu. With a salary of 600,000, you're eating a discounted lunch box like this?" The familiar voice made me turn around. Kwang Chi stood behind me, looking both angry and affectionate. I smiled, reaching out to hold her hand. "It's too much already, eat less to make it easier to lose weight." "What else can you lose after causing this?" Her tone unhappy. "After all, you are a senior specialist at the 4A advertising company. Look at your colleagues, everyone is holding a Sealand Channel book. And what about you? Altogether, it's only a few hundred yuan." She paused for a moment, lowered her voice. "I know you need money for your mother's treatment, but can you treat yourself a little better?" Her mouth scolded, but her eyes were full of pity. "My mother has been undergoing treatment at a nursing home for many years. Actually, after graduating, my income was enough to support. It's just that this year she was diagnosed with kidney failure again. She needs a kidney transplant, and the cost of medication has become overwhelming. Once I save enough money for her surgery, I will feel a little more at ease." She didn't say anything more, directly pulled out a card from her pocket, and shoved it into my hand, her tone still carrying that familiar arrogance. "Take this, I'll support you, I'll keep you. Not much, just 100,000. It's better to have the surgery done sooner." "No way, this is your house money." I hurriedly pushed it back. Kwang Chi is just an ordinary office worker. Her biggest dream is to buy a small house in this city. She waved her hand, showing indifference. "With house prices this high, I can't afford it for now. Besides, you earn a lot, I'm not afraid you won't pay me back." She even pointed at me, her tone serious. "Don't cry now." I held back, trying to suppress the tears welling up. Although the past years have been tough, I have always met warm people like Anjong and Kwang Chi. When I first met Kwang Chi, I told her my name was Lam Yu. She immediately laughed, saying my love wasn't the love of a tragic fate but the love of blooming peach blossoms, bright and beautiful, worthy of love. Kwang Chi's gaze accidentally glanced over my phone screen as if to change the subject, and she immediately pulled me into a chat. Today, Anjong's speech at the awards ceremony was harshly criticized by fans of Duong Mac Nan. Right now, fans from both sides are fiercely arguing. I scrolled through the latest hot news. The heat of the topic related to Anjong and Duong Mac Nan is still rising. Anjong is really terrible. Having known Duong Mac Nan for so many years, she treated him so well, only to receive a line saying it wasn't intentional to embarrass someone's daughter. What kind of man is this? Some fans of a certain sister are indeed proportional to their looks, clinging on and now turning to curse. The landlord has pursued for so many years, has Anjong ever responded? Clearly, he always avoids it. Anjong is not the type of idol chasing popularity, he always despises the act of stealing someone's partner, hoping some fans won't imagine things. She shut her mouth. Who doesn't know that since school, Anjong has been someone not to be trifled with, and now that he's famous, his attitude is even more arrogant, truly lacking any grace. Passers-by say the truth, it's obvious that Duong Mac Nan likes Anjong, and if Anjong doesn't like him, it's not his fault, but that answer really disregards a girl's self-esteem. He could have said it more tactfully, doing so is too hurtful to others. His high-handed attitude has always been unpleasant. I agree with the higher-ups, I really dislike how Anjong always seems reluctant. Hasn't he achieved today thanks to the support of fans? The debates online are increasing, and negative reviews about Anjong are continuously pushed to the top. In fact, in recent years, public opinion about Anjong has always been mixed. Some criticize him for being arrogant, conceited, and hard to approach. Others like his straightforwardness and cold honesty. Lovers love to the point of obsession, while haters hate to the extreme. Fans joke that he has a face that perfectly hides flaws but sings the most gentle and profound love songs. He always ignores the rumors. To be honest, I don't have any rumors about me. The bad rumor about me is just that I was a delinquent in high school. Images of him drinking and smoking with his assistant often get captured and discussed. The only thing is that his fans always remain calm. Other artists are photographed smoking. Fans all say, "My man is not like that, this is a photoshopped image, someone is deliberately trying to bring him down." As for the fans of Can, he actually does smoke and drink. This smoking angle is really beautiful. Fans of others worry that their idol will collapse. Fans of Can are living right on a pile of ruins. Fans all say that he has a carefree face, so their only wish is that he doesn't break the law. And they also message him to be open about who he loves, even if it's a guy. Especially in today's interview, Can mentioned that he likes girls like bunnies, which immediately sparked a lively discussion. Family, please explain, what exactly does it mean to like girls like bunnies? Can likes girls like bunnies. For the past few years, every pillow I like has a bunny symbol. Does that mean he has someone he likes? With a face and temperament like that, what girl could possibly tame him? Kwang Chi couldn't help but sigh. Love, your idol seems really hard to pursue. Not at all, he's easy to pursue. I unconsciously replied. How could that be? You talk as if you've pursued him before. I've never pursued him because I didn't have enough courage back then. In fact, on graduation day, I wanted to confess my feelings. At the post-university entrance exam party, Can drank a little. I blocked him at the school gate. I hesitated for a long time, standing there without daring to speak. He leaned one hand against my ear, bending down to look at me. Lampt you too, do you have something to say to me? Facing that gaze, my face immediately flushed, and the little courage I had gathered inside vanished in an instant. The moon is really full today. Can smiled gently, his other hand also propping up, enclosing me in between, creating a space that belonged only to him. So, do you want to kiss me? I held back, not understanding what the full moon had to do with kissing. His breath was warm, carrying a faint smell of alcohol that brushed past my ear. I thought maybe he was drunk, my heart raced, both tense and scared. I fiddled with my fingertips, lowered my head, my voice so small it almost blended into the wind. I'm feeling sick, let's do it another day. That illness lasted a long time, long enough that later I always regretted not nodding that day. Kwang Chi took me home by electric bike. Before going to bed, I opened a speaking practice video and set a fixed study time. In recent years, work pressure has been increasing, and most of the new interns in the company have graduated from prestigious schools. Even though I passed my major exams back in school, I still have weaknesses due to the lack of a practical environment, and I can only improve myself. It was just that when I woke up the next morning, my phone was filled with unread messages. Little Rabbit, your old post suddenly became famous and even made it to the hot search. I bought the link to the news article that the editor sent me. The headline caught my eye and made my heart skip a beat. Little Rabbit and Wenjing, the type of girl that Wenjing likes. In that moment, I suddenly understood something. Many years ago, I wrote a novel called Hidden Love based on the model of Wenjing. At that time, I was in a very bad state, and everything that didn't go well for me was given a happy ending in the novel. That book isn't very famous, it's just that now I don't know which of his fans shared it online. Isn't the author of Little Rabbit actually Wenjing? Age, profession, and experience all match up. The writing style of the authors Tin Tay and My Mew about first love and hidden love is truly wonderful. The male lead completely embodies Wenjing's face. Wen Jing said he likes the type of girl who is like a little rabbit. This author is named Little Rabbit. Could she be the girl that Wen Jing likes? No way, this novel is written too unrealistically. How could a girl from such a poor family be with someone like Wen Jing? He's a rich young master, right? That's right, in the novel everything goes too smoothly, they get married and have children. How could that be? It must be Fan Kuang. Isn't this the dream of the girl? That's right, the girl's dream is too scary. I also feel it's unrealistic. In light of this sudden event, a reporter interviewed Wen Jing. Mr. Wen, what do you think about the novel Hidden Love by Little Rabbit that's circulating online? He still looked calm as usual. I read all night on my phone. Oh, I want to know how he evaluates this work. He blandly replied. I really like the story, it's just that there are a few descriptions that aren't accurate. The online community is speculating that the author Little Rabbit is a fan of his, and some even think it's someone he secretly likes. Do you have any thoughts on this? Wen Jing thought for a few seconds, the corners of his mouth slightly curled up, a faint smile. Actually, I'm also very curious. If I have the chance to meet the author, I have a few questions I want to ask her. I held my phone tightly in my hand, my heartbeat quickening. The feeling of panic kept spreading, as if something was slowly approaching. Under the interview post, fans' comments skyrocketed. Wen Jing clearly stated that he didn't know the author, it was indeed just a girl's fantasy. Fan Nan calling him husband isn't enough, this girl even wrote a whole novel, that's really too much. With the heat of the news, the views of Ha Chi Tang skyrocketed overnight. The editor suddenly called me, her voice full of excitement. Yu has a company offering $5 million to buy the adaptation rights, whether it's black money or white money, it's all money. Finally, luck has come to you. For the past few years, I've only been writing short stories as a side job with low income. The $500,000 surgery cost for my mother made me so worried that I couldn't sleep many nights. The sudden appearance of $5 million in front of me really made me feel both scared and dizzy. The editor said the other side really liked this work, and since it's currently hot, they want to quickly adapt it into a movie. The basic plot content will be kept intact, just need to add and enrich some details. That night I tossed and turned unable to sleep. I worry that after reading the novel, Wen Jing will guess who I am. If I directly sell the adaptation rights right now, it would be like borrowing his fame to make a profit. But I also worry that my mother's illness can't wait any longer. Finally, I closed my eyes. Well then, saving lives is still more important. Right now, I have no other way to make money. The contract signing date was scheduled at a high-end club. I adjusted my clothes and politely knocked on the door. But when the door opened and I saw the person inside clearly, I was immediately stunned. 7 years apart, that face was so familiar that I could recognize it without thinking. Onken tilted his head to look at me, and in his eyes were emotions I couldn't decipher. In that moment, 7 years suddenly felt as fragile as a fleeting dream. He leaned against the classroom door waiting for me to finish school. That scene seemed like it had just happened yesterday. What does it feel like to meet again after a long separation? The words I once wrote about reunion suddenly felt foreign at this moment. It wasn't two people smiling at each other, gently saying a long-awaited greeting, but rather a heart racing uncontrollably, an instinct to turn and run away. I stood still, feeling as if I had just gone through a turbulent wave that no one knew about. Sorry, I went to the wrong room. I lowered my head, hurriedly explained, my voice betraying my panic. Isn't the author you? You're not mistaken. An enthusiastic staff member called me back and then turned to introduce the person next to him. This is Onkan, who has been invited to compose the theme song for Hachi. I was completely in a daze throughout the contract signing, my head bowed low, not daring to look up at him even once. Until the person in charge stood up to say goodbye, smiling and saying, Onkan also really likes your work, how about you two chat for a bit, I'll excuse myself. The door closed, and the spacious room suddenly became eerily silent. I stood behind the door, caught in a dilemma. He turned around, his gaze slightly lowered, looking straight at me without saying a word. In the moment our eyes met, it felt like the breath stopped. He seemed taller, thinner, with the blue-black shirt unbuttoned at 3 places. The once naive boy now had the demeanor of a mature man, yet still carried a hint of a vague lazy charm. I took a deep breath, awkwardly greeted him. "On Can, long time no see," he was still looking straight at me. His throat moved slightly, responding with a word. "MHM." I felt both tense and embarrassed at that moment. "I still owe you money that I haven't paid back." He slightly moved his eyelids and directly took out his phone to show me the QR code. "Pay it back." I hurriedly opened WeChat to scan it and saw his business card sending a friend request. "You should accept it." His fingers moved slightly. I had added him as a friend. "Can you transfer 10,000 yen to me? After all, I've owed you for so long." I cautiously inquired. "It's up to you." He looked down at me, lazily replied. "I transferred the money, remind him." "I've transferred it, you can check." He looked at me without any reaction, and I panicked and added, "Onjong, thank you. If it weren't for you that year, I might not be standing here today." "Thank you. How do you want to thank me?" He smirked, looking straight at me with a burning gaze. I twisted my fingers, my heart racing wildly. "So, can I invite you to dinner sometime?" He suddenly chuckled softly, the sound spreading in the air, and unexpectedly stepped forward, cornering me. I instinctively backed away, and he stood in front of me, casting a large shadow. He lowered his head, his gaze fixed on me, his voice deep and lingering. "Famous writer, when exactly is that day?" His eyes were blazing, and his breath was so close that I couldn't escape. My mind was completely in chaos. "Well, I'll wait until you have time," I explained softly, my words jumbled. Anjong chuckled lightly. "I happen to have time now." I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. "So what do you want to eat?" He stared at me, his throat slightly moving, his gaze unfathomable. I hadn't even reacted when he grabbed my wrist, pulling me straight outside and shoving me into the car. "Where to?" Before I could answer, the car was already rolling. Finally, he stopped the car under the building where I lived, which was to be expected. His current identity is easily recognizable in crowded places and could become a topic of gossip. But as soon as I opened the door and stepped into my house, I began to regret it. I've been too busy lately, I really haven't had time to clean, and it's a bit messy. "Don't mind it, just sit comfortably." Anjong stepped in with long strides, his gaze sweeping around the room before casually sitting down on the sofa. In that moment, his gaze landed on the pile of clothes draped over the sofa. Both of us froze. The clothes I had changed out of yesterday, including underwear, were piled up there. My face immediately flushed. I almost rushed over, hurriedly gathering them up, using a shirt to cover them and sneakily stuffing them into the corner of the sofa, my ears and cheeks burning as if they were about to steam. Anjong leaned back, crossing his long legs, a mysterious smile curling at the corners of his mouth, his eyebrows slightly raised. "Lamb to you too, go make some food." I was momentarily taken aback. He used to be like this, lazily leaning on the sofa and casually telling me to do things. I quickly stood up, but when I opened the fridge, I found it completely empty, feeling a bit embarrassed. "So, can I cook instant noodles?" I turned to ask him. "Sure." He replied decisively. After all, he was used to it. He nonchalantly responded. I awkwardly grabbed 2 packs of noodles and ran into the kitchen. Anjong leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed over his chest, silently watching me. The water boiled, steam rising. I put the noodles in the pot, casually tossed in some vegetables, and cracked 2 eggs. "Lamb to you though," his voice echoed from behind. I turned around and caught his unreadable gaze. "Haven't you learned any other dishes over the years?" I felt a bit guilty. "I have learned some." I brought the bowl of noodles to the dining table. He lowered his head to eat, not saying anything more. Anjong, he still didn't look up. "That novel, I actually just wrote it casually, so don't think too much about it." I said very softly, but I was afraid of disturbing him. He chuckled softly, his voice low. Was it written casually or was it written about me? The secret was exposed too bluntly, and my face turned hot. It's just that I haven't met any other boys, maybe I just wanted to consult you a bit. Oh, he continued to lower his head and eat noodles, as if it were nothing to worry about. A bowl of noodles quickly reached the bottom. I felt a bit embarrassed. Next time I'll treat you to something better. He put down his chopsticks, his gaze fixed directly on me. When will the next time be? I was looked at to the point where there was no way to retreat. I had to take the plunge and speak. Well, just wait until you have time. The atmosphere suddenly quieted down, awkward enough to hear even the sound of breathing. Anjong was the first to speak. Have you listened to my music over the years? I've heard a few songs. Just then, the phone rang. The ringtone was the first song he ever released, titled Don't Be Afraid. That song is known by very few people, everyone says only fan has really heard it. I awkwardly answered the phone. On the other end was the hospital nurse. In a hurried voice, her mother had an irregular heartbeat and was just taken for emergency treatment. Sorry, Anjong, I have an urgent matter. I quickly stood up to get ready to go out. He followed behind and pulled me back. Where are you going? I'm taking you. He drove very fast. When we arrived at the hospital, my mother was still in emergency treatment. I sat in the chair outside the emergency room, just waiting in silence. Over the years, I've sat here waiting for the doctor too many times. Anjong sat quietly beside me, and after a while, he finally asked, How is your mother? I tried to stay calm, my heart wasn't doing well, and this year it was discovered she had kidney failure. Fortunately, we found a suitable kidney source, and she could have surgery soon. Suddenly, my hand was tightly held in his large palm, causing me to shrink back. Don't be afraid, it will be fine. He held my hand tightly, the warmth transferring from his palm made me unable to hold back my tears. Over the years, too many people have advised me to give up treatment, even the doctors said my mother's mental illness was severe, and her body had many ailments. After the kidney transplant, she would have to go through a long recovery period. For a small girl like me, it was too difficult to bear. But she's my mother, as long as she lives one more day, I'm not a child that no one wants. Even when she wasn't lucid, she still recognized that I always had 2 candies in my shirt pocket for her when the emergency room lights turned green. Fortunately, she was saved. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Anjong comforted me by patting my head, suddenly realizing we were a bit too intimate, and I felt a little shy. Until a hurried voice rang out from the hallway, interrupting my thoughts. You, how is your mother? I planned to stop by after working overtime. What happened? Why did she have to go to the emergency room like this? I turned my head towards the voice and saw Kwang Chi rushing over. Her company is right across from the hospital, and whether busy or not, she often visits my mother. It's just a little unusual, fortunately, nothing serious. I quickly stood up to explain. But Kwang Chi's gaze had passed over me, stopping behind. She saw Anjong standing next to me, and his hand was still holding mine. Her eyes immediately widened. Isn't your best friend that guy? Anjong politely nodded. Hello, I'm An Kan. The two of you. Kwang Chi stammered and couldn't form a complete sentence. My face flushed, and I hurriedly pulled my hand away from An Kan's. Thank you so much for today. It's nothing. He raised his hand to check the time and reminded me. If you need anything, contact me. You two talk, I can head back first. An Kan left. Kwang Chi still stood there, clearly still in shock. Isn't it that Lam loves you? You've already won your idol, right? No, let me calm down first. My best friend is just too amazing. I burst out laughing and gently poked her shoulder. Calm down. I took out a bank card and handed it to her. Kwang Chi glanced at me. Didn't I tell you to use it? Why are you giving it back to me? I smiled. I've already transferred 3 million to you. Go buy a small house, remember to leave one room for me. Over the years, if Kwang Chi hadn't been by my side, I probably wouldn't have made it to today. Kwang Chi froze for a few seconds, still unable to react, then suddenly slapped her thigh. No way, my friend, are you being supported by On Can? No way. I shook her hand and hurriedly explained, back in school, I wrote a novel that suddenly became famous and sold the rights for 5 million. Oh my god. Kwang Chi stared at me wide-eyed. A few days ago, there were rumors online that the author of the Little Fox novel isn't you, right? She seemed to suddenly understand something. Her eyes immediately became full of meaning. You and On Can, there must be something going on, right? I hesitated for a moment, but ultimately chose to be honest. Actually, we were classmates in high school. Classmates in high school? Kwang Chi immediately didn't believe it. The looks they exchanged earlier were anything but innocent. What are you hiding from your best friend? Spill it. After I became On Can's little brother, I gradually became closer to him. I don't know when rumors started circulating in school that we were in love. Back then, dating early was a big deal. Parents had to be invited to school. That was the first time I met On Can's mother. She wore a very stylish outfit, with long, curly chestnut hair, both youthful and beautiful. The diamonds on her nails sparkled in the sunlight. The homeroom teacher exchanged a few pleasantries, while his mother reached out to pat On Can's head, smiling very comfortably. Wow, my family has raised pigs for so many years, and finally knows how to dig for vegetables. On Can frowned and pushed her hand away. Don't talk nonsense, he's an excellent student. I lowered my head, feeling both embarrassed and tense. I didn't know where to put my hands and feet. Are you the beloved one? His mother looked at me, her smile very gentle. I was extremely tense for a moment. No, nothing to say. I thought I would be questioned and scolded by her. After all, for many parents, a girl falling in love early is seen as lacking self-respect. I didn't expect Anjiang's mother to be so approachable. She just asked me, does Anjiang bully you? Is the academic pressure too much? Do you have any hobbies? It's just that when my dad came to school, he slapped me in front of everyone and scolded me for being shameless, as if my mom had embarrassed him. Anjiang pulled me behind him. I covered my face, trying to hold back my tears. I was used to being hit, so I didn't feel much pain, just a lot of shame. Before we could react, Anjiang's mother slapped my dad directly in the face. Is there any parent like you? Are you the real father of the child? I heard the teacher say that you often hit your child, right? A little girl, and you can still lay your hands on her. My dad was a bit incredulous. He said, if I want to hit my child, I'll hit you. Does her mother want to die or something? He angrily raised his hand to hit Anjiang's mother. Try hitting me once. Anjiang's mother stood with her hands on her hips, pointing at him and cursing. Go ahead and hit me. Hit me. Let's see if I fall to the ground begging you for 80,000. Think carefully. With my status, can your few kilogram skeleton compensate for it? Perhaps seeing Anjiang's mother dressed and her demeanor made her seem unapproachable. My dad is the kind of person who only bullies the weak, and he immediately deflated. He pointed at me and threatened, useless girl, wait until we get home, I'll beat you to death. The man left, and Anjiang's mother immediately pulled me into her arms to comfort me. When she touched my arm, I winced in pain. She noticed the bruises under my sleeves, and her expression changed immediately, both angry and distressed. Don't be afraid, you, come to my house. Aunt has many houses. That day she took me home. There was a whole table of food. She kept serving food into my bowl. You, eat a bit more, now is the time to use your brain, you mustn't lack nutrition. While saying this, she turned to remind Anjiang, the college entrance exam is coming, you and Tran Mak shouldn't be out playing all the time, can't you study properly? Anjiang replied calmly, studying for these few dozen days will get me into Tanhua University? Why are people so different from each other?
This story is brought to you by Brainy Vibe.
Anton glared at him, don't you know to learn from you? After saying that, she gave a direct order. Eat quickly. After eating, clean the room next door for you to stay in. I hurriedly stood up to refuse. Aunt, I can't stay here. Just receiving care, I already felt guilty, let alone staying. I had nothing in hand, and I didn't know what to give in return for this kindness. Jiang looked at me, his voice suddenly becoming heavy. Tao, do you still want to go home and get hit? I had never told him about my family situation, so at that moment, he was really angry. There were only 2 months left until the college entrance exam. Since he was young, my father has never had a stable job. He spends all day wandering outside, doing odd jobs when he runs out of money. That house has long ceased to be a place where I can find peace. He hated my mother for not giving birth to a son and hated me for thinking I was useless. Therefore, my mother and I always became the targets for his anger. The phrase he often said was, "She's a woman. If you hit her a little more, she'll be obedient." He beat my mother to the point of illness and turned me into a timid person, afraid of everything. Once, in the most brutal moment, I was beaten so badly that I vomited blood. My mother held me tightly, trembling all over, rummaging through her bag for a long time before pulling out 2 candies and holding them in front of me. "Be good, eat the candy." She had forgotten everything, only remembering that her good child liked candy. The candy melted in my mouth, and it seemed that the wounds on my body didn't hurt as much anymore. For me, home and family had never been concepts that existed. It wasn't until I met Anton that I realized what home really was. It turned out that my mother could also be a strong, gentle, yet determined woman. Anton held my hand, her voice firm. You, just relax here, nothing must happen before the college entrance exam. If you feel guilty in your heart, just treat it as if Aunt is renting you a house, and later when you grow up and earn money, you can pay me back. Aunt told me that she was very poor in the past, but look at her now, doesn't she have everything? Aunt has a good eye for people. You will definitely become more and more outstanding in the future. A hard-working and diligent child will surely have good luck. That was the first time in 18 years. I heard affirmation coming from someone else. In the past, dreams were just a vague concept for me. But at that moment, I suddenly understood very clearly the path I wanted to take in the future. Perhaps it was to become someone like Anton, gentle, kind, confident, beautiful, and shining brightly. After dinner, I quietly worked on my assignments while Ankin flipped through the pages of his book with his swift enthusiasm, and before long, he fell asleep. I don't know how long it had been, but Anton brought a cup of hot milk. Don't let your body get too tired, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. She told me that studying isn't the only path, but for a poor child, studying is the only way. I'm not very smart, so I can only work harder than others to achieve good results. I can only pass the exam to get out of this family mess. I can only work hard to earn money to free my mother from the clutches of evil. Ankin is different. In fact, he is very smart, with excellent natural science thinking, and even if he studies casually, he can still rank in the middle. He doesn't need to rely on the college entrance exam to change his life. His family can arrange for him to study abroad, nurture him in the arts, and support him in attending an international school with high tuition. At that time, he and Tran Mak along with a few friends formed an underground band, often playing music after school. I thought his dream was to become a singer, but he said he didn't want to turn his hobby into a profession. His dream was to carry a camera and travel around the world. Those 4 words at that time seemed like a luxurious fairy tale to me. I poured all my strength into just hoping to escape from that towering wall. Anton had to go on a business trip just 3 days after coming home, and I wasn't sure what her job was. Ankin only said she sold clothes. Before leaving, Aunt gave me an old phone. They said it was old, but in fact, it was still very new. Aunt reminded me that if my father hit me again or caused trouble at school, I should immediately call the police. And if Ankin bullied me or got into fights with others, then I should call Aunt. In fact, Ankin looks fierce and unapproachable, but I have never seen him bully anyone. As for Tran Mak, who often went with him, he had a muscular build, a very short buzz cut, and a large tattoo on his arm, making anyone who looked at him think he was a tough guy. Until one time I accidentally discovered that the tattoo on his arm had faded. He was scrubbing the tattoo with his hand while turning to threaten me. Little Bunny must not tell anyone. It took a while being with them to realize that Anjong and Tran Mak were not school tyrants at all, just rebellious teenagers at that age putting on a tough exterior to protect themselves. After the incident of being called in for having a crush too early, Anjong deliberately kept his distance from me, no longer as close as before. I rented a room at his place, and the two of us were like roommates. I meticulously recorded every expense in my notebook: rent, food, money for vegetables, and utilities. I thought I definitely had to pay him back in full later. At the supermarket downstairs, every time we went shopping, Anjong never looked at the prices. He would just take whatever he wanted. I walked behind, calculating with my fingers which items were on sale and which were more profitable. As he put items in the cart, I secretly took them out. Because I had to split everything with him, every single penny had to be calculated carefully. Look at how frugal he is. He frowned as he flipped through my notebook and casually tossed it aside. I charge a protection fee to support you. After saying that, he dragged me from house to collect money. Some people even begged him. Could you give me a few more days? I was completely stunned. Anjong really charged a protection fee? Later I learned there was a term called the dismantling generation. After school, he often hung out with a bad crowd. I stayed home alone doing homework. He came back late and asked me, "Lamtu though, why didn't you call me?" I don't understand. What would I call for? He was a bit annoyed asking me when I would come home. I didn't understand. He wasn't a child, he couldn't get lost, why did he need someone to ask? Without saying a word, he took off my hair tie and put it on his wrist. I was even more confused. It looked good on my wrist. He explained and then looked a bit dissatisfied at the meal I had already finished. Lamtu though, go make some food. Cooking rice deducts 20 yuan from the debt. Actually, my cooking skills could only be described as not deadly, just enough to fill the stomach. The only dish I was good at was instant noodles. My family was poor, and the aid often included instant noodles, so it was what I ate the most. I would throw various vegetables into the pot and crack an egg. Convenient, quick, and delicious. It's just that Anjong always slightly criticized it, but his cooking skills weren't any better than mine. What we ate the most was instant noodles with various vegetables. Later, he gradually stopped liking to go out and play. When I was doing homework, he was next to me flipping through the 3 years of college entrance exam papers and dozing off. He yawned and teased me. Hey Lamtu though, which city do you want to take the university entrance exam in? I was looking to see if there were any schools near your place where I could get accepted. Do you want to go with me? I gripped the pen tightly in my hand, feeling a mix of excitement and an indescribable anticipation rising within me. I always thought that perhaps after June, we would each go our separate ways. Anjong gently tapped my head with his pen. What nonsense are you talking about? You still owe me money, I'm the creditor, shouldn't I keep an eye on you? At that time, I actually had no specific plans for school or my major. I just thought very simply that the higher I scored, the better, and after graduating, I would earn a lot of money. Anjong casually tossed a coin onto the map in front of us. How about here? He looked at me, warm in winter, cool in summer, and the environment is good too. That day, a coin decided our promised future. It's just a pity that later I didn't fulfill that promise. I never mentioned Anjong to anyone. The distance between us just kept growing. Over the years, I lived in my own world. Watching him shine on stage from afar, listening to his music, quietly following him was enough. Kwang Chi sighed after hearing that. So was it because of that later on? I silently nodded. At that time, I knew how you were doing. Why drag him into this and ruin the moment? She paused and asked, but haven't you really contacted him at all these past few years? I shook my head, no. His dream was to travel around the world. My dream was to make money, a lot of money, to escape the four narrow walls of the poor alley. It seemed that everything he wanted could be easily reached. He always had enough capital and confidence. But I was different. When he stood under the spotlight with thousands of fans, every morning I opened my eyes thinking about medical bills, tuition fees, and student loans. When a person is struggling to make ends meet, they have no mental space to dream about love. Even though I have tried my best now, getting a decent, bright job, there is still a distance between me and him like clouds and mud. Moreover, intentionally drifting apart, how could I demand a reunion? So Anjong didn't know about what happened back then? Kwang Chi asked me. I nodded. When he came back, I was already gone. On graduation day, I blocked him at the school gate, wanting to confess my feelings, but after gathering enough courage, I ended up just saying, "The moon is so full today," and he seemed a bit drunk, grinning wickedly, asking me, "So do you want to kiss me?" But I was afraid to use the excuse of being sick to say another time instead. He teased me every day asking if I was feeling better. I was very scared, lying that I wasn't, but after he left, it felt like I really had a bad cold. After the university entrance exam, Dion booked a plane ticket for him to go abroad. One was to reward him with a relaxing trip after the exam, and the other was that his grandmother was abroad for medical treatment at that time. If there is anything, you can find Tran Mac for help. That day I came home, my father snatched my phone and locked me up. At that moment, I learned that he was deeply in debt and couldn't repay it, selling me to a 40-year-old single man. 150,000 in betrothal money, he happily counted the money. He said after raising me for so many years, he finally saw some money coming back. Raising me just so I wouldn't starve to death is still called raising me? I desperately tried to escape, and he immediately beat me with a ring. In the end, he called that single old man to the house, saying that after beating me up, I would sleep well. He is my father, but why is it that other people's fathers protect their children, while my father is a beast when I was being torn apart on the bed? My mother desperately protected me, but my father was beating her in the next room. In the end, my crazy mother grabbed a fruit knife and stabbed at the demon that had tied her up for a lifetime. Finally, she burst into the room and crazily stabbed the one who attacked me. She was mad her whole life, the only moment she was sober was to protect her little daughter. Fortunately, she was crazy. Crazy people who harm others do not bear criminal responsibility. So the one who deserved to die finally died, which can be considered a relief for the people. It's just that from then on, I went crazy. I suffer from severe anxiety, dreaming every day of someone tearing my clothes and covered in blood. I don't dare to go outside, don't dare to wear dresses, don't dare to sleep with the lights off. My mother hugged me, like when I was little, comforting me, saying to me, "Be good, eat candy." I looked at her and told myself to persevere. I have to keep living. She killed the evil for me, and for her, I cannot fall down. The case from that year. Because it involved my honor, it was not publicly tried, so many people only heard about it after we were taken away by the police, never to return to that house again. After being treated in the hospital for a while, I also had university entrance exam scores. I didn't go to the city I had promised to meet with Anjong. I took my mother to a place where no one knew us. At that time, a female police officer in charge of our case saw us as pitiful and helped me with 10,000 yuan. Thanks to this 10,000 yuan, I didn't end up in a desperate situation. That year, my mental state was particularly poor. I lost sleep every day, lost hair, and was so anxious I felt like I couldn't breathe. Fear invaded me all night long. That year, Anjong suddenly appeared on screen as a singer at the age of 19. That year, he released his first original song, titled "Don't Be Afraid." Hearing his voice, I gradually overcame my fear. It felt like he was right beside me, telling me, "Lam Tu though, don't be afraid." Also that year, I wrote a happy ending for us secretly. Over the years, I quietly followed everything about him. He became more and more famous, and more people liked him. His smooth life made people envious. Fortunately, I also worked hard to overcome my fears and struggled to move forward. Now, no matter how difficult it is, I have already overcome it. The next day, my mother's primary doctor informed me to come in to discuss the arrangement for surgery. It was just that when I arrived at the office, I was a bit surprised. Anjong's good friend, Tran Mak, who is also his current manager, was there, along with a doctor I had never met before. Mak, why are you here? I was a bit surprised. He smiled and greeted me. Let me introduce, this is Dr. Tu, the country's top expert on kidney failure, specially invited to be in charge of the surgery for your mother. I was so moved that I didn't know what to do. Mak, thank you, really thank you. He was nonchalant, waving his hand. Oh dear, thank you for me. What for? Is it all arranged by Anjong? Anjong is right, how could Tran Mak know about my mother? Anjong only found out yesterday, and today he has already invited the doctor over. I was momentarily at a loss for words. Then please thank Anjong for me. Don't do that, just thank him yourself. Tran Mak enjoyed teasing me, and after saying that, he quickly picked up the phone to call. Hello, Jong, your little rabbit said he wants to thank you properly. Tran Mak chuckled a few times and quickly hung up, waving goodbye to me. Anjong told him to wait, he is coming soon. Before I could react, he quickly left. Isn't this something? When did I say I wanted to thank him properly? Anjong arrived very quickly, just as he was about to finish the surgery with the doctor, he arrived. Tell me, how should I thank you? His gaze was burning. I don't know how to thank you for this. You don't lack anything. Then can I treat you to a meal? Last time, letting a big star like you eat instant noodles was indeed a bit rude. Alright, let's go. Anjong shook the keys in his hand and drove me to his place in the city center, where every inch of land is valuable. With an open mind, standing on the balcony, you can take in the vibrant night scene of the area. In a place like this, office workers like us might not even reach it after decades of not eating or drinking. Do you like it? Anjong suddenly asked. I was momentarily stunned. What do you mean? The workplace. Go on. Where do you work? Zhongshan Square. Oh, that's convenient. The statement sounded very natural but made me feel something was a bit strange. I didn't quite understand his meaning, so I could only silently nod. Upon entering the kitchen, I found myself in a difficult situation. The ingredients he bought were very complete, but my cooking skills were truly questionable. I usually don't care much about food, as long as I'm full, that's enough. Over the years, even though I learned to cook, it seems I haven't improved much. I stubbornly cut 2 tomatoes, cracked 3 eggs, intending to make the simplest scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Anjong, like last time, stood behind me, quietly watching me struggle. Already lacking confidence, I felt even more uneasy under his gaze. I stir-fried the tomatoes a few times, and just as I was about to pour the eggs into the pan, his voice suddenly rang out. Lamb to you too, in your house, do you just pour the eggs straight into the tomatoes after stir-frying them? I held the bowl of eggs and forced a smile. Isn't that how it's done? Who taught you that? The corners of his mouth slightly lifted. You probably saw it online, right? I hesitated for a few seconds. I might have remembered it wrong. He stepped forward, directly standing behind me, one hand adjusting the stove beside me, while the other took the bowl from my hand. He is a head taller than me, and at that moment, I was completely wrapped up by him, unable to move. He skillfully scrambled the eggs and poured them into the cooked tomatoes, and in no time, a dish was ready. Have you learned it yet? He lowered his head, his voice deep. I couldn't help but feel a bit tense. What else do you want to eat? The hot breath brushed against my ear, and I couldn't help but feel my ears turn red. I glanced at the ingredients, which were quite expensive. If it gets ruined, it would be a waste, quite a pity. Anjing, how about I treat you to some takeout? You've only been eating takeout these past few years. He looked at me with a somewhat scrutinizing gaze. No wonder you're so thin. I lowered my head, feeling a bit guilty. He looked at me helplessly and sighed. Let me do it. I was a bit surprised. You know cooking helps you share the burden, right? He asked me back. I'll help you. I panicked and helped him with the chores. Picking vegetables and washing them was no problem. I just didn't expect Jing's cooking skills to be this good. Before long, a rich dinner table with plenty of meat and vegetables, with colors and flavors all prepared. He sat across the dining table, always serving food to me, while he didn't eat much. That's enough, I hugged my bowl and ate until I felt a bit full. Eat a bit more. He seemed to ignore my refusal and continued to serve food into my bowl. In the end, that dinner left me feeling both uncomfortably full and a bit embarrassed. The atmosphere between the two of us was hard to put into words, a bit awkward, yet also had an indescribable vague feeling. After dinner, Jing took me home, but just as I got out of the car, I ran into Thuong Dong. He is the son of the policewoman who helped me back then. Are you back now? My mom cooked a lot of delicious dishes today and told me to bring some to you. Thuong Dong's gaze swept over me and then stopped on Jing standing next to me. He immediately widened his eyes. His sister is the expressionless Jing. I felt a bit embarrassed and had to introduce. An old classmate of mine. Sister, your classmate looks like a star. Thuong Dong looked at Jing, his voice full of excitement. Jing lazily raised his eyes, calmly saying, she just had a meal with me. Oh, then it's fine to eat tomorrow, she doesn't eat leftovers. After saying that, Jing gestured to Thuong Dong. Give it to me. Just right, I wasn't full yet. I asked with a head full of questions. Even Thuong Dong was stunned, but still confusedly handed the lunch box to him. Jing took it and asked, is there anything else? No, nothing else. Then let's go. Oh, okay. Then I'm leaving, sister. Thuong Dong naively waved goodbye to me. Even I hadn't reacted in time. Little Dong said goodbye. Thuong Dong walked away. Only I and Ken were left at the door. The atmosphere immediately became stranger. I tightened my grip on the bag's handle, hesitated for a moment, then spoke up. So, goodbye, Ken. I said goodbye to him. Getting ready to go upstairs. I didn't expect that as soon as I stepped out, he suddenly grabbed my wrist. He slightly pulled me into his presence. Lam Tu though, is this how you thank me? His tone had a hint of danger, his gaze straightforwardly looking at me. Ken, what are you doing? Being held in front of him, I felt an overwhelming tension. What is our relationship? Aren't we just classmates? I explained in a low voice. He chuckled softly, suddenly wrapping his arm around my waist. I panicked, gripping his shirt tightly. His voice deepened a bit more. Lam Tu though, what do you still owe me? What do I owe you? I was a bit confused. He chuckled softly, a wicked smile creeping onto his lips. Leaning close to my ear, he whispered, do you think the moon is full today? I instinctively looked up at the sky. The sky is full of stars? Clearly, there is no moon? There isn't. Before I could finish my sentence, he suddenly held my neck with one hand and leaned down to kiss me. A flurry of kisses fell, he was breathing heavily, my mind went blank, my breath was stolen, and my body felt a bit weak. His arms tightened around me, my head gradually became dizzy, I pushed him away, but unexpectedly he turned around and pressed me against the car while kissing. At first, it was gentle, then gradually lost control, demanding wildly. I don't know how long it took for him to finally let me go. I was dazed, lacking oxygen. Gasping for air, my lips were numb. I vaguely looked at Ken, who was also breathing heavily, and he was staring straight at me. The night wind was cool, my face was burning, and the autumn breeze blew a messy strand of hair onto my cheek. He gently tucked my hair behind my ear, his eyebrows slightly raised, his voice carrying a hint of allure and teasing. Have you seen enough? Let's be together. In that moment, I felt like I was back in the summer of my 18th year. At that time, I hesitated for a long time, not daring to confess. And he was always domineering and decisive, doing everything his way, never following the usual path. Let's be together. Could it be that he wanted to say this back then too, but I, in the present, no longer had the carefree innocence of 18? On can, we are not compatible. Lamb to you though, don't you like me? I used to like you, but now I don't dare to like you anymore. I used to like you, but now I don't dare to like you anymore. 7 years ago, the moment I left, I prepared myself for the fact that I would never see him again in this lifetime. No one knows how I went through that time. I gritted my teeth and endured, time and again, pulling myself out of the sea of suffering. Only after overcoming it did I realize that I was no longer the person I used to be. I like Anjong, and even if we meet again, I will still be moved at first sight. But then, so what? Intense emotions often don't last long. I gradually became more sober and learned to lower my expectations. Love has never been a mandatory choice for me. We are no longer the naive 17 or 18-year-olds. There is a 7-year gap between us. Who would wait 5 years for such a vague relationship? Everyone has had their impulsive moments. But what happens after the enthusiasm fades and everything is exhausted? You and I are fundamentally different. I lack confidence and certainly wouldn't dare to gamble my life away. I can't stand failure. My mother's surgery went very smoothly. After the operation, her body showed no unusual rejection reactions, her condition is stable, and it seems there won't be any major issues. Kwang Chi has always been by my side, even Thuong Dong and his mother came to the hospital to visit. Aunt Chu just retired, holding my hand tightly, her eyes full of worry. You, it seems like you've lost weight. When you have time, come home with Tu Dong for a meal. It's not far. Aunt misses you a lot. Thuong Dong stood beside me, laughing along. That's right, sister, my mom mentions you every day, I miss you too. I hugged her. My voice trembled slightly. Can I come visit you after the New Year holiday? My eyes were so teary that I couldn't hold back. That day, it was Officer Chu and Aunt Chu who saw me in rags and without saying a word, took off their coat and draped it over me. Back then, Aunt came to the hospital to visit me every day, encouraging me, helping me get through the darkest nights. That kindness, I can never repay in this lifetime. The family tragedy back then was my misfortune, but I was strangely lucky. Every difficult phase had warm people appearing, holding my hand and walking through it with me. Just after seeing off Aunt Chu and my mother, I saw Tran Mak Sach striding over. His face was so gloomy it was hard to look at. Oh, good job, Lam Yu. The sarcastic tone made me freeze. Mak, what do you mean by that? Tran Mak scoffed disdainfully, so what? On one hand, you're climbing with my friend, and on the other, you're entangled with someone else. You misunderstood, it's a misunderstanding. His voice suddenly got higher. Do you know how Anjong has been living for the past 7 years? Kwang Chi couldn't take it anymore and immediately stood up. Do you have a problem? What are you shouting about? Tran Mak still hasn't calmed down. He looked at me, his eyes full of dissatisfaction and anger. Anjong is such a fool, asking someone to buy his books, spending the whole night looking for the best doctor for his mother, dropping all his work to run back and forth by his side. He paused for a moment, his voice becoming heavier. What about you? Just because of one disagreement, you chase someone away. He waited for you for 7 years, you have no idea how hard each day was. Every word from Tran Mak felt like a heavy hammer striking straight into my heart. I stood there feeling completely confused. Are you out of your mind? Officer Chu was just someone who helped you, does he see dirt in everything? Anjong begging to come back is a favor, she should happily rush to him, right? Kwang Chi pulled me, unwilling to back down against Tran Mak. You say Anjong has had a hard time these years, then tell me how hard it was for him? At 19, he was famous and adored by thousands, enjoying the best resources. If that's called hardship, then please give you a little. She took a deep breath, gritted her teeth. Let me tell you what hardship is. It's when you're completely shattered and still have to think about taking care of her mother. It's countless times of hovering at the brink of death. It's having no food to eat. One day, she had to work 3 jobs to earn money for her medicine and pay off her debts, living on a salary of $600,000 a year while eating discounted boxed meals every day. Do you know how she lived every minute and every second over the years? Have you ever experienced it? Do you have the right to judge others? I pulled Quang Chi. Don't say any more, I just can't take it. Quang Chi sniffed. Tran Mak was momentarily disarmed by Quang Chi's words and lost his anger. He silently put down his things and left. Not long after, he called me. Lam Yu, I said a bit too much today, don't mind it. It's fine. I pretended to understand. He sighed and shared a lot with me. I regret it quite a bit. That year, I only heard about your situation the next day. If I had known, I would have definitely come to save you. I owe Anjong. Before he went abroad, he warned me a lot, telling me that at home, his father was not a good person. When Anjong returned, you were no longer there. He couldn't find you and was afraid you wouldn't make it. Do you know? Anjong originally didn't want to be a singer. Tran Mak's voice became hoarse. But he said he wanted you to see him, wanted to stand in a well-lit place, sing for you, so you wouldn't be afraid anymore. Over the years, he has turned down countless people who pursued him. Is there someone in his heart? Only I know. Every time he performs, he looks down at the stage, looks towards the ticket exit, watches the crowd coming and going, but there has never been anyone he was waiting for. His old phone number, he still recharges regularly to this day. Every time he gets drunk, he calls a number that no one answers, repeating words of longing. I can't take it anymore, my legs go weak, I sit down on the ground, covering my face and crying uncontrollably. Over the years, what I learned the most is patience. No matter how hard or difficult it gets, you mustn't cry. Tears are the most useless thing. But at this moment, hearing those words, I only feel like my chest is being squeezed tightly, uncomfortable to the point of not being able to breathe. Someone like me has no right to receive such favoritism. You know Anjong's personality by now. Tran Mak lowered his voice. The things he quietly does behind the scenes, he has never told you. You're the same. How hard life has been over the years, you've never mentioned it once. We all understand tacitly, no one brings up the past. I know what he wants is not my sympathy, and what I want has never been his pity. Lam loves. Tran Mak's voice deepened. How many times in life do we have 7 years? I know you think a lot, but those things are really not the problem. I only know one thing, Anjong is someone who won't turn back unless he hits a wall. You are his inner demon. If you don't nod, he could wait until he's 30, 40, or even wait a lifetime. He looked at me, his gaze so serious that it made one dare not look away. And what about you? Besides Anjong, can you like anyone else? Can you meet someone better than him? That's right, I won't meet a second person like Anjong. The feeling of secretly liking someone so purely will never happen again in this lifetime. Over the years, there have been people who pursued me. If you have money, you worry that my mother's mental illness will be inherited. Those without money are scared off by her expensive medical bills. When adults talk about love, it's mostly about weighing pros and cons, about exchanges and losses. Only Anjong, you are like a fleeting dream I once had in this life. That night, I sat alone by the window for a long time. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. I opened the door and found Anjong standing outside. He reeked of alcohol, his eyes were hazy, clearly he had drunk quite a bit. As soon as I opened the door, he stumbled and fell onto me. Anjong, how much have you drunk? He held my waist tightly, resting his chin on my shoulder, his voice slurred. Lam Tu though, don't go, I'm not going anywhere. I gently patted his back, lowering my voice. You left. He muttered, his voice full of grievance. One time away is 7 years. You fraud, my heart aches so much it feels like a stab. I'll go make you a glass of honey water to soothe you. He immediately tightened his grip. Don't go, you can't go. I'm not going. He suddenly lifted my face to look at me intently. Are you crying? Who bullied you? I'll go get justice for you. No one is bullying me. I helplessly explained. Anjong suddenly hugged me tightly, even more so. His voice deepened, carrying a hint of choking, as if he had been holding it in for a long time. You never tell me anything. Lam Tu though, I feel heartbroken for you. I held back my tears, patting his back to comfort him. Anjong, you're drunk, should I take you home? I don't want to. Not going home. He shook his head. Then can we sleep? We can sleep. Sleep well. Alright, I'll take you to the bedroom. Let's just sleep on the sofa for one night, but this person insists on not letting go of my hand. You said you wouldn't go. I'm not going, I'm going to sleep in the living room. No, you can't go. I realized I couldn't reason with a drunk person. He was very strong, I couldn't escape. He lay on the bed and ordered me around. Lam Tu though, help me take off my clothes. It's too hot. I sighed, took off his shirt, trying to smile. I didn't expect him to do it himself, and yet he laughed awkwardly. Why are you taking off your pants? I was astonished. Don't you sleep without taking off your pants? He drunkenly asked me back. I told you, you still want to take off the last thing. I hurriedly stopped him. He mumbled an aha in a daze. I just sighed in relief when you suddenly wrapped around me like an octopus. Your body is very warm, and I immediately felt heat rising to the top of my head. Your hand is restless and grabs my waist. Lam Tu though, where has my meat gone? On can, you shouldn't touch me. I blushed and gritted my teeth. You nuzzled into my neck, saying I should let you gain a little weight later. Feed the fat little rabbit and then eat it. Have you taken out the little pants hidden in the corner of the sofa? Did you gain weight in those places? On can, don't act like a rogue while drunk. Oh, do you act like a rogue when you're not drunk? No way. I wanted to leave while you were sleeping, but after struggling for a long time, my strength and patience ran out, and I still couldn't escape your embrace. I don't even remember when I fell asleep, only that my chest was burning hot. All night I was lost in a vague, chaotic dream that was hard to describe. Fortunately, I woke up first the next morning and quietly got out of bed. After washing my face, just as I brought 2 eggs to the table, a hoarse voice came from the bedroom. Lam Tu though. Soon after, Onkin came out, wearing only his underwear. My face immediately flushed, and I hurriedly turned my back. Why aren't you wearing any clothes? He replied nonchalantly, his voice still sleepy. It smells bad. Why wear anything? In a moment, the assistant will bring the stuff over. After saying that, he went straight into the bathroom. The sound of water splashing echoed. Not long after, he came out, wrapped in only a bath towel. The temperature on my face rose a few more degrees. He boldly sat down on the chair, chin pointed at me, saying, "Come on, how are we going to deal with last night?" I held you. Deal with what? We slept together and you still ask. He looked at me without blinking. Oh, who slept with you? You did, he said very confidently. You hugged me to sleep yesterday. I wasn't wearing a shirt, you even took it off. I only took off my shirt for you, didn't do anything at all. You say you didn't do anything, so you didn't do anything? He raised an eyebrow. Is it possible that I have no charm at all? I am really about to go crazy. How can there be such unreasonable people in the world? You've held me, kissed me, and slept with me. Onkin said slowly, his gaze deep. No matter what, you have to give me an explanation, right? Lam Tu though. He tilted his head to look at me, his eyes even carrying a hint of grievance. I am a very conservative person, and now that I am no longer pure, what do you think I should do? I froze, feeling only one thing in my heart: I was tricked by him. When it comes to being shameless, I am no match for him at all. I was so angry that I was speechless for half a day. Can, how could you be like this? Seeing that I was really angry, he quickly stood up and hugged me from behind. He carried the scent of my shower gel, mixed with his familiar breath, suddenly hitting my nose and making me shiver slightly. Lamped you too, why can't you handle such teasing? I blushed and turned my head to glare at him. You two go ahead. His voice suddenly dropped to a strangely serious tone. I couldn't wait any longer. He lowered his head to look at me, withdrawing all the usual carefree demeanor. Can, when I returned that year, I couldn't find you. He interrupted me, his voice slowing down. Everything was just what he heard from others. They said when you were taken away, your whole body was covered in blood, and there were 2 dead people. Some even said that you had. His gaze darkened, cloaked in a deep loneliness. I'm sorry I didn't protect you well, I don't blame you. Can. I shook my head, perhaps fate had long been arranged like this. I took a deep breath. My father sold me. That person wanted to harm me. My mother killed him, and also killed my father. I spoke very softly, but each word was heavy. I've listened to every one of your songs countless times. Hearing your voice, I slowly stepped out of the darkness. I looked at him and smiled faintly. Thank you. Can. His eyes turned red, his voice became hoarse. Like my performance, you never came even once. I didn't dare to go. Why? Afraid that I wouldn't be able to control myself and develop inappropriate illusions. He patted my head. You fool. Lamped you though, don't be afraid. He lifted my face, his eyes filled with a smile. From now on, you just boldly move forward. As long as I am alive, I will protect you. I'm just a coward, longing for love but too afraid to love. In that moment, I suddenly felt no fear anymore, just wanting to hug my boy. Can's assistant arrived very quickly. He brought a suitcase, clothes, personal items, everything was complete. Can instructed him. All right, go ahead, leave the car for me. Why are you bringing so much? I had a puzzled look on my face. You don't have my clothes at your place. He reasoned as if it were obvious. Do you want to stay here? Is it necessary to be so quick? What if not? He asked back at me. I was at a loss for words, not knowing how to counter him. After breakfast, he insisted on driving me to work. The workplace is quite far from here, it takes more than an hour to drive there. Mr. Fan complained, every day going to work is such a waste of time. It's not a waste, I can still study an extra hour of English on the subway. He frowned, it's still at my place, and I can hold you and sleep a bit more. When we arrived at the company, I just opened the car door to say goodbye to him. He suddenly grabbed my hand and leaned down to kiss my forehead. I felt nervous and scared. It was broad daylight with people around, and he is a public figure, there are people here. He looked at me somewhat dissatisfied. Am I not worthy? No, just a colleague who came to work and asked me about the big gift. Boyfriend? I was startled by when Jing quickly got into the car and awkwardly explained. Classmate, haven't you officially started yet? You look like a star, is that singer Wen Jing? Several colleagues had been whispering since morning, and suddenly received a meal at lunchtime, and there were colleagues who weren't joking. Love, did your boyfriend order this? The food from the 5-star restaurant is really thoughtful, isn't it? I blushed, took the lunch box, and secretly called Wen Jing. Did you order the food? What food? Nothing. Then I'll ask someone else. Wait, he stopped me. Who is the other person? Male or female? Is it that boy who called you sister the other day? He questioned me irritably, not asking about my close friend. I helplessly explained, why would he order food for me? And it was so expensive. Seeing you lacking nutrition, I added more. He huffed lightly and added another sentence. From a classmate who sends love, he deliberately emphasized the 2 words classmate. You're angry. I'm not afraid of having a bad influence on you, am I? What if someone recognizes you? I tried to explain. If they recognize you, they recognize you. Being in love isn't illegal. He was still sulking. With others, they are sisters, but with me, they are classmates. A is just a way of addressing. I'm older than that boy. Isn't it normal for the boy to call me sister? I felt a bit helpless. Then I'm even older than you. Try calling me sister in English. I'm really angry with you now, it's hard to calm me down. I hid in the corner, my face flushed, calling out a few English words, and finally let this matter go. After being together, I don't know why, Anjong seemed to turn into glue, wanting to be together 24 hours a day. Sometimes I even doubt, how did you find time to be idle for so long? After work in the evening, he started to take an interest in researching various recipes. He is becoming more and more skilled in cooking, while I can only be a little sous chef. Is there anything you want to eat today? I'll prepare it for you. I opened the refrigerator, turned around and asked him. He hugged me from behind, his voice lazy. Do you want to eat meat? What kind of meat? I rummaged through the meat section. Let's eat rabbit meat. When I realized what he was saying, my face turned bright red to my ears. He mischievously pinched my waist, leaned down, and said in a hoarse voice, "Can we eat rabbit tonight?" I shyly and nervously pushed him away. Let's eat rice first, I regret it now, I shouldn't have eaten rice first. I bowed my head to eat rice, his gaze kept staring at me, as if it were a countdown clock. I panicked, a grain of rice got stuck in my throat, coughed once. Don't rush, eat slowly, you scoop me a bowl of soup. Who's in a hurry? I just want to bury my head in the bowl. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry. Can you hurry up? He slowly opened his phone again, not knowing what he was looking at. Are you researching strategies? I'm full now, short pain is better than long pain. I looked at him focusing on his phone. What are you looking at? He smirked. He thinks this part in my novel describes the investor not in detail. Do you have the right to request a revision? Where is it? I'm a bit curious too. He showed me the phone screen. I saw again a scene describing intimacy. That night, someone turned into a big bad wolf. The little rabbit has nowhere to hide. Anjong, please spare me. Spare what? How to spare? You, this bastard, how are you so despicable? You only know how to bully me, how do you bully me? I can't take it anymore. I whispered, my voice both confused and tired. Can't take it anymore where? He chuckled softly, his teasing voice familiar. Great writer, let's see, when I wake up the next day, my whole body aches, the sun is already high. Anjong, why is it already 10 o'clock? I sat up in shock. Didn't you set the alarm for 7 o'clock? With all my attendance points, the person next to me is still half asleep. Pull me into your arms. I've already asked for leave for you. What's the point of taking a break? He gently rubbed my head, his voice very natural. To get married? I'm holding on to you. Get married? Aren't you going to ask me? He frowned, looking displeased, and pinched my cheek lightly. You tried so hard yesterday, is there anything you're still not satisfied with? My face turned hot. No, I just think getting married isn't a simple matter. He burst out laughing. Have you found the household registration book and ID? Then he tilted his head to look at me. Are you going to obediently follow me or do I have to drag you along? 2 hours later, he shook the little red book in his hand, looking very pleased with himself. Do you see? Is getting married simple? It really is very simple. In the blink of an eye, we became legal husband and wife. I suddenly remembered something. Anjong, did your mother know you got married? He pretended not to care. She's abroad and will be back in a few days, it's just that everything happened too suddenly. One weekend, the night before we stayed up very late. The next morning, still half asleep, suddenly a surprised shout came from the living room. Son, are you hiding someone in your house? I was startled. Anjong's mother seems to have arrived. I hurriedly got out of bed to find clothes and clean up the battlefield. What's the fuss? Anjong, still in shorts, went outside first. Who's at home? His mother was continuously excited. Anjong's wife yawned. Let me see, male and female. I nervously finished getting dressed and slowly stepped out into the living room. Auntie, my face is flushed, I shyly greeted. Isn't this love? Anjong's mother was astonished. What did you say? Why did this kid suddenly change his personality? Mom, we got married, we just got the certificate a few days ago. Anjong's mother was initially shocked, then turned to give him a slap. Anjong's mother was initially shocked, then turned to give him a slap. Anjong's mother was initially shocked, then turned to give him a slap. Why didn't you say it earlier? There's no matchmaker or dowry, I've already brought someone home. After saying that, she looked around at herself and finally took off the bracelet from her wrist. Little one, Mom came in a hurry, didn't prepare anything at all. You hold this first, I just bought it a few days ago. When do you plan to have your wedding? How many copies are being prepared for the Trunghai Tay style, and where will it be held? Mom will go arrange things for you. I was startled by this sudden enthusiasm, unsure of what to do for a moment, even very surprised. Between me and Can, the age difference is significant. I think parents will definitely care. In the end, who wouldn't want their child to find a suitable partner from a normal family? Then I couldn't help but ask her, don't you oppose me and Can being together? She laughed so much that she couldn't close her mouth. Why would Mom oppose? That kid has been longing for you for so long, it's like a wish granted now. She held my hand like 7 years ago, telling me many things. Don't mind what others say about whether it's a good match or not. Life only has 30,000 6,000 days. The 2 words happiness are the most important. To be honest, Ed doesn't think Ken is better than you. If he held your cards, he might not even be as good as you. Mom knows you're only 25 now, but do you know what your mom was like at 25? Her voice was slow, but each sentence was very heavy. At that time, Mom was just a full-time housewife taking care of a 2-year-old child at home. Her husband cheated and relied on the fact that Mom's family was not as good as his, becoming more and more arrogant. The woman outside found all sorts of ways to provoke, while Mom endured time and again, only to receive slaps and merciless hits in return. At that time, for Can, Mom didn't dare to divorce, but later he even hit his own child. The scar on Can's eyebrow was caused by him hitting with a chair. It was also that day, Mom took a child of age, let go of her hand and left, determined to divorce. At school, people said he was a child without a father, bullying him. Mom told him that whoever hit him, he should hit back, and she would take responsibility. From then on, he began to resist all the bullies. Gradually, no one dared to touch him anymore. In the past, Mom not only protected you but also protected her own self from her youthful years. Mom is a divorced woman in her 30s, taking her son to sell goods, working in a factory, saving some money, then she started selling clothes. Initially, there were many losses, but after the divorce, luck seemed to come. The land in her hometown was suddenly cleared for construction. Receiving a large sum of money, she used that money to open a workshop and learn how to manage. A person over 30 started learning about clothes, studying design, running around everywhere, traveling the world. Nearly 20 years have passed. Mom is no longer the weak housewife who once suffered from domestic violence. My dear, you are only 25 years old. Thanks to your own efforts, you have stood out in a top advertising company. That's already amazing. The future path is still long. You are not lacking at all. Mom believes in her son's vision, and also believes in her own vision. You can overcome difficulties to transform. You cannot be an ordinary person. That day she told me that no one has a smooth life. If things don't go as desired, believe that heaven surely has other arrangements. After being with Anjong, in fact, quite a few photos have been taken by paparazzi, including the copyright of the lower intellect being sold. I don't know who dug up the topic of discussion among netizens beforehand, including the rumor about Duong Mak Nan being brought up for discussion once again. He doesn't follow the path of a popular star and doesn't care about entertainment gossip. As for Duong Mak Nan, I met her once. She is really beautiful, but her personality is somewhat arrogant, like a little girl questioning on Jong. I ask you, what do I have that's good? Where is she better than me? On Jong, this person speaks in a difficult-to-listen manner, directly throwing out a sentence, she is good everywhere, you are not as good as her anywhere. The little girl was so angry she couldn't speak, criticizing you without knowing the bond. To be honest, Duong Mak Nan's father is a famous musician in the industry. When On Jong first debuted, thanks to his recognition, I had already told her not to have any intentions towards me. Seeing her as a young girl, I kept some face for her, it's best she knows to stop. Teacher Duong once helped me. I admit that over the years, my mother has let her represent Hien Tan, and she has received many benefits, which she should be clear about in her heart. Don't think you can use morality to force me, especially since someone like me has no morality at all. It was also on that day that I learned about the famous luxury fashion brand Hien Tan. The person behind it is actually my mother-in-law, her real name is On Hien Tan. And then the New Year fashion show of Hien Tan was entrusted to me to plan. Projects like this are usually handled by key figures in the company. Compared to them, I can only be considered a newcomer in the industry. Just thinking about it is already stressful, let alone accepting the offer. But she gently comforted me, saying if I do well, it's my credit, and if anything happens, she will take responsibility. Mother believes I can do it. So I gritted my teeth and accepted this project, carrying heavy pressure as I moved forward. According to the plan, at the end of the show, Duong Mak Nan, as the brand representative, would wear the latest outfit and take the closing position. During the rehearsal, she deliberately sought me out backstage. Lamu, 7 years ago, you were involved in a serious case, right? Her voice lowered, her gaze full of malice. I heard that 2 people died back then, it spread quite widely in your hometown. The corners of her mouth curled up, her smile was both smug and contemptuous. And what about your mother? It seems her mental state is problematic. Someone like you really deserves On Jong? I looked at her, my voice calm. Miss Duong, what do you mean by saying these words? Surely you don't want others to know, do you? She half threatened, half reminded. I paused for a second and then let out a light laugh. Why do you think you have grasped my weakness? I looked straight into her eyes. What you have investigated, does On Jong not know? Even if I was once a victim, so what? Just by your few words, how much do you think I would panic? Duong Mak Nan briefly showed a look of surprise. I shook my head, my voice calm. Encountering bad people has never been the fault of the victim. You are also a woman, using this matter to stab others in the back. How high is your morality? I looked at her, my gaze gradually turning cold. I looked at her, my gaze gradually turning cold. I looked at her, my gaze gradually turning cold. I looked at her, my gaze gradually turning cold. I looked at her, my gaze gradually turning cold. I may not have a good background like you, but I still understand the basics of etiquette and integrity. And you, a young lady from a wealthy family, are eyeing a married man. Your character really makes others look down in shame. You said I'm not worthy of him. Are you worthy then? This year, I have witnessed too much indifference in the world and the malice of the workplace. Now, I am no longer a dumpling for others to squeeze at will. Moreover, the person I have chosen, once selected, will not be easily given up. Duong Mak Nan was angered by my words but still refused to back down. Good, I wish you luck. The rehearsal went smoothly, but when the official performance began, an emergency situation arose. The host suddenly declared that he had a stomach ache and could not continue. The substitute host also refused to go on stage because he was unfamiliar with the process. After a while, the backstage turned into chaos. Since this performance is bilingual, finding someone to listen at this moment was too late. The assistant finally suggested, "You go on, you know the process, you wrote the script, and your English is fine." Seeing time pass by second, with a crowd of stars gathered, I couldn't let them laugh at me. I boldly took on this position. For the first time stepping onto such a big stage, my whole body was trembling. I glanced down at the stage, when Jing was waving at me from the front row. At that moment, I didn't know why, but Long suddenly felt at ease. The script was written by me, every word and sentence had been considered many times. I could completely not look at the script. I didn't know how I performed, only catching a glimpse of the live comments in the broadcast room. "Oh, who is this host? She is amazing, no need to look at the script." Smoothly switching between Chinese and English. "The stage presence is stable, where did this new host come from? Really impressive." I finally breathed a sigh of relief. 2 fixed hours of language practice every day. The efforts over the years have fortunately not been in vain. In the past, Kwang Chi once asked me why I liked studying so much. When I was young, I had no friends, no snacks, and no toys. The only thing I could do was read books and study. I only knew one very simple thing. If I study well, at least the teachers will like me. As I grew up, with no time for entertainment or socializing, I understood even more that studying can enhance oneself and can also transform into real value. Sweat has been shed, sooner or later it will bear fruit. The main performance of the show began. Duong Mak Nan donned the latest collection of the season. Sai stepped onto the stage, and the media cameras immediately turned towards her. The lights kept flashing. The first show I planned myself has finally ended perfectly. Wen Hien Tan, as the founder of the Hien Tan brand, rarely appeared before the cameras. Immediately, reporters began to ask questions. "May I ask Ms. Wen, after the new year, will the brand representative of Hien Tan still be Ms. Duong Mak Nan?" She smiled and shook her head decisively. "Ms. Duong's contract has expired." The next brand representative of Hien Tan was also present at the scene. After finishing her speech, she glanced down at the stage and subtly raised her hand to signal. Anjong stood up, and the moment he stepped onto the stage, the auditorium immediately buzzed with excitement, and the media became even more thrilled. The rumors immediately had room to explode. Why was Anjong chosen as the representative? An Hien Tan replied very calmly, her voice carrying a hint of a smile. "Because choosing the boy means no payment is required." The president was stunned. Until Anjong stepped onto the stage, Mrs. An Hien Tan naturally linked arms with him and smiled as she introduced, "This is my son." After a few seconds of astonishment, the reporters quickly regained their composure and bombarded Anjong with questions. There are rumors that the copyright for the novel by the Little Fox has been purchased for adaptation into a film. "May I ask what you think about this?" Anjong frowned and replied straightforwardly, "I bought it." "What? Do you have any comments?" The reporter was left speechless. "No, none." Another person quickly asked. "Recently, there have been rumors that you are dating a girl outside the entertainment industry, and some netizens say that the person is the author of The Little Fox. May I ask if you two are in a romantic relationship now?" Anjong shook his head. "No." Just when everyone was about to breathe a sigh of relief, he continued calmly, "We are husband and wife." The entire auditorium fell silent. A few seconds later, my mother-in-law, Mrs. An Hien Tan, turned to signal me. "Come here, dear." She linked arms with Anjong with one hand and took me with the other, standing in front of the camera to introduce us. "This is my daughter-in-law. She is the original author of the novel and also the chief director of today's performance. Isn't she great?" She paused for a moment, her voice filled with laughter and pride. "Moreover, this is the girl that Anjong has liked since he was 18. He entered this industry just to sing for her." As soon as the performance ended, the hot search related to Anjong immediately exploded. I once thought Anjong was a terrible man, but unexpectedly, he turned out to be a lovesick fool, the purest love warrior, debuting at 19 just so the girl he liked could see him. Oh my God, what kind of fairy tale love is this? Where do I need to worship to meet a man like this? Before I die, let me have a love like that. At the same time, the incident where I temporarily replaced the hosting role was reported for some reason. Both hosts withdrew temporarily, clearly intentionally. The originally designated host was a close friend of Duong Mac Neen. I heard that she claimed to have a stomach ache that day, but someone passing by caught her leaving the backstage and heading straight to the nightclub. Isn't this intentionally targeting you? Anjong is already married but still does bad things behind the scenes. A lifetime of darkness. Sister Yu is also very skilled, switching between languages without any awkwardness. The entire process of not looking at the script makes being a professional host at this level very difficult. Fairy tale love, I have truly been captivated, once again moved by someone else's story. In short, an unexpected incident turned into a stroke of luck. After 3 years of marriage, my mother's heart failure issue has become increasingly serious. The doctor has repeatedly reported the dangerous condition. Although the kidney disease has been controlled, her old age and heart problems cannot be cured. She has suffered too much in her life. Also this year, the police broke a major human trafficking case from many years ago and suddenly contacted me, saying there might be clues about my mother. In fact, when I was 18, I registered information at the police station. She had no relatives on her mother's side. When she was young, someone said she was bought, but since I have memory, her mental state has not been normal. I also do not know where her hometown is. The case was investigated for a long time, and finally, there was a clear result. Indeed, my mother was bought by my biological father for 3,000 VND. Her name is Lai Hu Phuong, but her real name is Tam Nuoc Hong. She used to go to school, and even was a university student. That year she had a fiancé. The two of them traveled together and unfortunately got lost. In a moment of panic, she was kidnapped by traffickers and went missing from then on. Currently, both of my maternal grandparents have passed away. The police could only contact a very distant cousin of hers and also found her fiancé from back then. That person, with the surname Hua, is now a university professor and has a son and a daughter at home. He got married in the 3rd year after my mother went missing. He has tried to meet me many times, hoping to see my mother once, but I always refused. At that time, my mother was in the final moments of her life. I held her hand and softly said, "Mom, I know your real name now. Your name is Nuoc Hong, right?" She tightly held a candy in her hand, trembling as she placed it in my palm, her voice strained. "Be a good child, eat the candy." "Yes." I put the candy in my mouth and let it slowly dissolve. "Mom," I leaned in closer to her. "In the next life, please be my daughter. I am your mother, can I protect you?" Her lips trembled, tears streaming down her cheeks. She could no longer speak. "Mom," I gently continued. "Do you still remember Hua Ton Thursday? He still remembers you." The gaze of the person on the hospital bed paused slightly. She exhaled a very light breath and slowly closed her eyes. I always knew that the day she would leave me would come sooner or later. Throughout that process, I did not shed a single tear. The whole body was unusually quiet. I dressed her in a beautiful outfit and carefully did her makeup. Following the funeral car to the crematorium to prepare the urn for the ashes, I personally scooped each handful to place in the cemetery, choosing a spot against the mountain. Facing the river, the scenery was very peaceful, and a simple line was engraved on the tombstone. The grave of my mother, Tam Nuoc Hong. There are people who are buried in darkness for their whole lives, but their names can ultimately return to the light. I and Onken planted many star flowers in front of her grave. That professor with the surname Hua sought me out again. He wanted to visit her, but I refused again. Tam Nuoc Hong has been dead for a long time. She has been crazy, living as Lai Hu Phuong for decades. A good wife and a good mother, she is just bones buried in golden earth. It's really ridiculous. I think even if she were alive, she wouldn't want to meet him. Onken comforted me, feeling heartbroken. Lamb to you too, if you want to cry, just let it out. I did not cry. I don't know why, but I continued to live as usual every day. Until one time when I passed by the park downstairs, a little girl was cuddling her mother. "Mom, I want candy." In that moment, it felt like a valve in my heart had been opened, and I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. "Can, you no longer have a mother." Later, when I encountered certain scenes, I always couldn't help but burst into tears. At that moment, I understood that the departure of a loved one is not a storm but a prolonged dampness that lasts a lifetime. That day, due to exhaustion, I fainted and was taken to the hospital. My mother-in-law flew back at night to comfort me in her arms. "My dear, don't cry anymore. There's a baby in your belly now. Your mother in heaven is here to find you. Do you know? Mother is also your mother, she will always be your support, and you will also be her support. The baby is very well behaved, there was nothing uncomfortable throughout the pregnancy. My mother-in-law found a professional health manager and a nutritionist, and my body was adjusted much better. By the 38th week of pregnancy, the baby was ready to be born. Because I always controlled my weight well, the delivery was not too painful. It was just that when Quang Chi recounted Can's reaction when I had just given birth, it made me laugh. "Your husband is quite polite." The doctor handed the baby to him to hold. He said, "Thank you. No need. I am not familiar with this girl. My wife is a little angel in every sense, so adorable that it's unbearable and very easy to take care of." The baby's nickname is Chu Tin Tin. Over the years, I have managed Hien Tan with my mother-in-law. Can occasionally writes music or invests in trivial things. He no longer directly manages his career, so he is often called a slacker by his mother-in-law, who thinks he is living off his wife. At Chu Tin Tin's first birthday party, Quang Chi pinched my waist, laughing meaningfully. "Oh my, how can someone look even more beautiful after giving birth? Is there someone who surely laughs secretly every day? Don't mention it anymore." I rubbed my forehead and sighed. Every day I am jealous of my own daughter. After calming the little one, I still have to soothe the older one. The little one wants to be cuddled, and the older one won't give in. At night, this one wants to sleep together, and that one is determined not to yield. Quang Chi laughed heartily. "You keep flaunting your love. Who doesn't know that Can is now the ideal man in legend?" Speaking of which, a few days ago during the filming of a show, he wore my hair tie on his wrist. A new person, with a sweet voice, asked, "Can I borrow this hair tie?" Unexpectedly, Can coldly replied, "This was given to me by my wife. She said this is a hair tie to ward off bad people, anyone who borrows it is a bad person." Such harsh words made many scold him, but many also praised his skill in countering. In this day and age, who hasn't heard the fairy tale love story of Can? It's even rarer to find someone who doesn't understand the meaning of the hair tie on a man's wrist. "Hey." Quang Chi leaned closer, lowered her voice, "Give me the book she read while pregnant." I was startled and stared at her belly, slowly asking, "It's not from Tran Mak, is it?" Her eyes dodged, her cheeks slightly flushed, and she nodded gently. I burst out laughing. It turns out that those who have weathered storms eventually learn to grasp their own happiness. These two have not seen eye to eye since they met. Over the years, they have argued whenever they met. Who would have thought that after arguing back and forth, they ended up in bed together? "Aren't you afraid of getting married or having children?" I intentionally teased her at noon. In the past, Quang Chi was steadfast in not wanting to get married. I used to think that way, feeling that men cannot rely on anyone. Marriage is just a shackle. But looking at you and Jong over the past years, you have really changed a lot. You've changed from deep within, becoming more beautiful, more confident, and also happier. Yes, I don't know when it happened, but it seems we have all changed. What's good about getting married? To this question, many people shake their heads. For those who are happy in their original families, marriage may not bring many benefits, but for those who are unhappy, meeting the right person is truly a salvation. Some people use their childhood to heal their entire lives, while others spend their whole lives healing their childhood. I am unfortunate but also fortunate. I was hurt by my family but also healed by my family. Love has a divine purpose, flowers will bloom along the way, and one day the light will come to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. I truly appreciate the comments, suggestions, and feelings from all of you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next stories.